Hi, everyone. It's Peter with the Real Recovery Podcast. Just here to give you a little bit of an update on how things are going. This is pre-show episode number 3, and I'm excited today because I spent the last 4 hours or so with my co-host Julie setting more groundwork to get this podcast off the ground. And we are just busy as bees working at getting our guest list together and getting some shows pre-recorded so we have some content for you to listen to, and then scheduling out for the months ahead for more guests to come. It's going to be just absolutely fantastic. Now, let me tell you a little bit about why this is a passion of mine and why I am so excited. I'm doing this off the cuff, so excuse me if I'm a little stuttery. I really want to be able to give back to the community that without that community, I would not be here today. When I first started in the journey of sobriety, I spent almost all my time at a local Alano club where I was a secretary. I chaired meetings. I made coffee. I emptied the cigarette trays out front. I did it all because it was so important to me to overcome my addiction and regain a sober life. So giving back and service has always been a forefront in my program. I believe this is going to be a great way to also give back to the community and share some of the stories from all kinds of different people's perspectives. These stories hopefully will resonate with listeners out there and help them find their own journey to recovery. It took me many years to get to the point where I now have, it'll be 7 years of recovery this July. And it wasn't an easy path. And I'm so grateful for the people that were there for me, who stuck with me through those dark times. The people who I met and learned from in the meetings that I attended and in the community that I became a part of. My first club was ECAC out in Gresham, and it wasn't the first place I had been. I also had been in treatment in Chicago, and I had gone to different meetings in Illinois, and eventually landed at the East County Alano Club and got so much inspiration, hope, and help from that group there. It became my home group. The group helped me out so much finding that community, and it's where I began, really, truly believe I began my journey. But it is important to find a group that you feel 100% comfortable with. And ECAC, for different reasons, didn't quite fit 100% with my journey. And it was finding the right group for me. I found the extended family and the lunch bunch at the Sunnyside Church in Portland, where the group of people there had very similar stories to my past. I'm a gay man, and so that also is part of my story and my journey. And I didn't feel always so comfortable sharing at the East County Alano Club. So it was when I found the group at Sunnyside, that's what opened me up. It's like I landed there and I said, I found my people, because I felt so comfortable and I could be fully honest. I didn't feel like I could be fully honest without judgment at the first club I went to. And I'm not saying there was anything wrong with the club. My point here is that you need to explore and find the people or the club or the program that will work for you. And everybody's an individual, and following the strict guidelines that some clubs set forth may not be the right path for others. And for me, it wasn't. I needed a little bit more flexibility, and I needed to make the program my own for me to become fully committed and engaged. That's what I found at the Sunnyside Lunch Bunch. I've never looked back. That is why this podcast is so important to me, because I didn't know where to go. I didn't know anything about different meetings in the area. I needed to hear stories that were from people who had backgrounds similar to mine for me to really get it and to feel like, oh, I'm not alone. I am a part of a group. There are others out there like me that I can connect with. That was very important to me. My hope is that through this podcast, we will be able to share the stories of people in the recovery community and perhaps inspire someone who may be struggling to take that first step and to admit that they're powerless over whatever their addiction may be, and that there are other people out there like them and that they aren't alone. By sharing these stories and sharing these voices through this podcast, maybe we will inspire others to find a program that will work for them and be able to find their own path to recovery. I think it's so powerful. I know that my life has been changed by other stories in the program of recovery, and I want to share that with others. My story and Julie's story is not everyone's story, so that's why we want to get out there and talk to others in the program to share their stories so people will be inspired to find their own group or their own path to recovery. Anyways, what we have been working on is a lot of behind the scenes, getting the website up, getting the podcast feed in place, setting up ways for people to contribute to the show, either by being a guest or monetarily, because there is a cost to doing this. And I'm fortunate enough that I am able to make a lot of this happen between Julie and I. But if we want to really continue to do this and to expand and share more and more stories and give more perspectives on different communities and meeting spaces, etc., it does take a financial foundation to make all this happen. So we're hoping that will come to fruition as well. Oh, we have so many ideas. I think if we are able to raise funds for scholarships to help people, there's some great programs out there, for example, to create scholarships for people coming out of treatment centers who may not have the tools or the clothing needed to reintegrate into the job force again, as an example, or getting people scholarships to be able to attend some of the larger conferences, which are just absolutely magical. And that's where we will be launching our podcast at the North Coast Roundup, April 11th through the 14th. Actually, the event is on the 14th, but we'll be out there a little bit earlier to get the lay of the land. It's going to be in Seaside. You can find out more about the event on our website. Anyway, my mind just goes a million miles an hour, and sometimes it's hard for my mouth to keep up with my thoughts. But I hope this in some way imparts the excitement and passion that Julie and I both have for putting this podcast together. I remember when I was leaving a corporate job back in Chicago, and I was at a point where I was trying to figure out what my path forward would be with my career. I broke it down to what are the tools and talents that I have, and how can I couple that with a passion of mine? And that's where I created my MediaCore company, which does web design and web hosting. And it's because I had a passion for small businesses needing to help them out, sole proprietors. They don't have a lot of time. They don't have a lot of skills in the tech area. That their passion is what their skills are, where their passions are. And I built my company to help support those people. And I was able to teach them how to use blogging tools or set up a site for them and then teach them how to manage their own sites. And it fulfilled me. It has turned into a wonderful business. As I have crossed the 50-year threshold, and I'll be turning 57 this year, I came to a point in my soul searching to what is my second act now? And I really want to leave some sort of legacy behind. And by having this podcast about how much the community that I've been involved in has helped me on my journey to a wonderful, happy life. So there's the passion. And I have all the technical skills. I'm a videographer, and I've worked with audio, and I've set up podcasts for numerous clients of mine. And I've done it all, but I never actually had my own. I've always been behind the camera. And I thought, if I can couple those talents with my passion to give back to the community that has allowed me to be where I am today, how can I make that happen? And that's where this podcast idea came about. It makes me extremely anxious because I put myself out there. It's my voice. I don't know those of you out there who've heard your own recorded voice, if you're like me, I hate my recorded voice. I don't know how people can listen to it, but apparently people seem to like it, or maybe it's just the message is good enough that they'll listen. And then also to be so open with my journey in my recovery and my addiction, and to tell those stories and feel comfortable sharing those with gosh knows how many thousands of people who will listen to these shows. It brings on a bit of anxiety, and it can make me a little nervous about the whole prospect. And when I get anxious, that leads to inaction. I can't, if I get so anxious and nervous and worried about something, it's hard for me to move forward. So I'm trying to keep that in check. I do deep breathing exercises and hope that through my bumbling dialogue, a message of hope will get through to your ears, will inspire those of you who are struggling or are searching for a group or don't feel that you belong, to hear a story that sparks that in you, that, oh, they are just like me. Because I've not been to one group where I haven't heard a story that I can relate in some part to their journey. And those stories have helped me become comfortable in my own skin and to continue my journey into recovery. And oh my gosh, Julie has a fantastic story that I'm sure you'll find intriguing, entertaining, and inspiring. I will be sharing more about my story in future shows when we both come together. We will have, like I mentioned, there's a whole lineup of wonderful guests that I've come to know and have become friends of mine. So I'm really looking forward to the fruition of this project to an actual podcast and something that will live on and hopefully continue to inspire years after I'm gone. I know that's a lofty goal. We'll see if we can make that happen. Either way, appreciate you checking in with me. And as I produce more of these shows, I hope to become more and more comfortable on the mic and not be so jumbled and stumbled as I am sure I'm coming across to you now. And I welcome you to visit our website at realrecoverypodcast.com. There you can find ways to sign up to our newsletter so you're always in the know of what we're up to and future guests and when shows come out. There's a way to donate if you have the means. No donation is too small, and we really appreciate the support. And right now, because we're building this whole platform out, we do have a GoFundMe running to raise some funds to get us going. The idea is that this will be completely listener supported, and anything that goes beyond what's needed to produce the podcast, we will be able to use, as I mentioned, for scholarships or as a means to give back to the community to support the other groups that we are a part of and have come to know and love. Thank you so much for listening. Really appreciate it. This weekend, I'll be recording our opening and closing wrappers for our show with Julie. I think we might have a few shows coming out about our own journeys in recovery, real recovery. Till then, Peter B., thanks for listening.